I'm going to take you step by step on how I was able to achieve this result. So I'm going to show you everything just on one side for the sake of time. So let's start with her temple. I always start with a little bolus of lidocaine and epi, and I'm using a 23 gauge entry needle because I'm going to start with cannula. I am using a 25 gauge by 1.5 inch cannula. Sometimes I use a 2-inch cannula here if they have a longer temple, but I felt that I could get away with a 1.5 inch cannula. So I am performing a subdermal approach. Now I'm using the product Evolysse Form. This is my go-to product for temple. I really love how she integrates into the temple. I think this product is beautiful. It doesn't pack too much bulk, but it just lays really nicely. I can massage her down. Sometimes when we use a product that is a little too robust here, it can look a little bulky, it draws in a little bit of fluid, it can look a little boggy. So product selection for this technique and the plane that I'm injecting in is super crucial. So I'm just laying small retrograde threads in this area. There are really 3 techniques that you can inject. Number 1, you could do the shotgun approach, which is that 1 up, 1 over, where you go down to periosteum and lay a bolus there. You can perform the interfascial technique, which is basically middle of the road as far as the layers of the temple, and lay product that way with a cannula, or you can use the approach, the subdermal approach, which is more superficial. I think there's pros and cons to every technique. In my honest opinion, I think the on periosteum approach is beautiful, but you need a really robust product to be able to project through those layers of the temple. And then sometimes I feel like that bolus of product doesn't span the whole temple. So I think a combination of techniques is crucial to really truly treat a full temple. The interfascial layer, it makes me a little bit nervous because it starts to lay in the plane where that superficial temporal artery is, that frontal branch. So that makes me a little bit of nervous, but some of my colleagues are obsessed with this technique and perform it successfully. So I love it. I think it's all about understanding your anatomy, understanding what technique you're using in relation to that primary real estate that we're trying to avoid. So I think it's all about just when you decide what technique you're going to use, just really understanding what real estate you're working with that technique. I prefer a subdermal approach. I always undertreat ever so slightly to avoid maybe drawing in a little bit of water and maybe that filler looking really boggy over time. So I always undertreat the temple and then bring them back in about 30 days just to see how it laid. Most of the time, I never have to retreat. Sometimes I have to lay a couple threads here and there, but for the most part, a subdermal approach is my preferred technique. I always use a middle of the road as far as G prime and viscosity. So Form is my girl in this treatment area, and I just lay small threads. When I'm injecting this area, I always tell every patient that they're going to leave with their veins looking a little bit engorged, a little bit angry, and then it takes a few days for that to settle, but it always settles. They never long-term have their veins looking that angry. It really is just because I'm poking them and making those veins angry and disrupting them. So if ever you see that their veins look a little more aggressive, that's totally normal. And then I always spend time massaging that product down. Massaging is the number one thing that you should do after temple, just to make sure that all of that product lays really nicely. But I think that looks really nice, and I think that that'll settle beautifully. She didn't have a super hollow temple, so I think that was just the little bit that she needed. So now I'm using Restylane Lyft to go down on periosteum. I'm trying to pop out that little mid-cheek groove that she has. I'm aspirating, always aspirate when you're anchored down to bone, and then placing about a 0.2 bolus. 0.2 boluses, there's no science behind it, but that's kind of my rule of thumb as far as how much max product I'm going to inject in one sitting. So pushing a little bit of that Restylane Lyft down on bone to pop out that little mid-cheek groove that she's having. And I always perform slow injections. I'm never shoving a whole bunch of product quickly. I take my time. She had a little bit of a bleeder, so I'm just holding pressure. And now I'm going to go back in. And I always say the cheek, I always have my like kind of guideline pattern that I inject, but the cheek is what's in control. So I place a small bolus and then I determine what the cheek is telling me. Now I saw that there was a little bit of deficit lateral to that spot, so I'm going to lay a little bolus right lateral to that first injection poke. And then I determine where I'm going to go next. Hold a little bit of pressure, massage that product ever so slightly, have them always express. Remember, you're injecting two cheeks, a resting cheek and an expressing cheek. And I think that's so important to factor that in to avoid overfilling your patient when they're smiling. Sometimes we only factor in resting, and I think that's what leads to an overfilled cheek. So I always have them smile to determine where that light reflex is breaking. And she said, wow, right there. You could see how pretty that cheek looks. It looks natural. She has a beautiful contour, a clean light reflex. But this is the reaction that you want from your patients.
Just pop that out for patients. And most times they don't realize.
Sorry.
Girl, I'm a walking tear.
Here's our versions of tissues here.
I like these versions better.
But that looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's work on the other side and then we'll go down.
So now let's move down to her subtle, I don't even want to call it a marionette line, but she's in her 40s, she's starting to lose, I think she just turned 40, she's starting to lose a little bit of support in that lower face. So I'm going to take that Evolysse Form and using that same cannula, 25 by 1.5 inch cannula, I'm just going to lay some small threads in her marionette line and chin shadow region just to build up that support. Again, she is aging so beautifully, but she's starting to see some breaks in that light reflex where she's starting to experience some shadowing. So that's what we're doing here, a little bit in the pre-jowl sulcus because she's in the beginning stages of experiencing a jowl. So let's soften the shadows and kind of just recorrect that light reflex that's starting to break up just a little bit. So you'll never see me inject thick wads of product. I'm really always laying small threads and going back and forth into those areas to just kind of refine this area. And I always massage this area. Remember, you have that DAO and that DLI overlapping right there. So you want to avoid any focal accumulations of product. So I'm a big believer in massaging. So moving on to the piriform, remember we have to respect that facial artery that's sitting right there. I go down to periosteum and aspirate for a minimum of 8 seconds in this area. I really love to hold a strong aspiration, and then I place about a 0.2 bolus. Now, again, for her, she doesn't have a strong nasolabial fold, but that little shadowing effect in that piriform does bother her, so I want to soften it. I am not the type of injector that likes to completely eradicate a nasolabial fold. I think it makes patients look flat, and I think a nasolabial fold gives the face some dimension and contour. If you look at my daughter, she's 4 years old and has a nasolabial fold, so I don't think that nasolabial folds age you, but I think deep nasolabial folds age you. So for her, I'm just adding a small amount of product just to kind of soften the depth of the shadow, but not completely get rid of a nasolabial fold. That's never my goal. So I'm using that same cannula and just working up to that piriform and laying a little bit of product just to soften it. And now this is where I refine everything. I never take anything to like complete correction. I always want to leave a little bit of product to just go back into certain areas that I see once everything has kind of taken a breath. So you'll see I'm going back into the temple, I'll go back into the pre-jowl sulcus, and this is how you just kind of refine your results. Always leave a little bit of product to show the patient your result, and then if they point anything out, you have a little bit of product left to kind of satisfy what their eye is seeing. And I think I learned that the hard way when I would complete a result and then have no product. So now using that Restylane lift and that cannula technique, I'm going into that jawline, that posterior jawline, and kind of sharpening up that gonial angle. She likes kind of a sharper jawline contour, so I'm just cleaning up the entire jawline with a little bit of that Restylane lift that I have left over from the cheeks. So I'm just working my way back into the tissue, knocking on the door, waiting for it to let me in, and then just laying small threads. And look how pretty that looks, guys. It just cleans up the light reflex. Again, this is what I consider facial balancing. Softening light reflexes, cleaning up contour. I'm using a 27 gauge needle here to kind of sharpen up that gonial angle for her, always aspirating when you're on bone, and then laying a small amount of product. Remember that facial artery sits in this region. It sits below the mandible and then pops out at that antegonial notch at the anterior border of the masseter. So respecting that facial artery is crucial. So laying small amount of product and then always massaging that area. And last thing, I'm going to take a little bit of that form that I have left, use it in that pre-jowl sulcus with my cannula, and really clean up the entire jawline contour here. Now, it can be really tight in this area. Remember that submental artery lives right there, so I am not forcing my cannula through the tissue. You can see I'm just knocking on the door and waiting for that tissue to let me in, and then I'll place small retrograde threads, but I'm not forcibly getting through that tissue. The tissue is in control. Her face is in control. I'm just knocking on the door, waiting for it to let me in, and it takes a little bit of time, but lay a retrograde thread, and look how pretty that looks. Always, always, always take your time and massage this product in this area so it blends really nicely. But look at her before and after. I think it looks clean. She looks refreshed, rejuvenated, not overdone. Jawline looks refined. Cheek looks refined. Temple looks softer. And she just looks like she is just rested and rejuvenated. And she was obsessed. So am I.